This striking profile captures Union Major General William Tecumseh Sherman, shortly after the Civil War ended as commanding general of the Army. His scorched earth tactics in the South defined modern warfare and left an indelible mark on American history. New York City, 1970. The massive twin towers of the World Trade Center rise above Manhattan, designed by Minoru Yamasaki. Construction began in 1968, and by the time they opened in 1973, these steel giants would forever transform the city's iconic skyline. Langley, Virginia, 1960s mathematician Katherine Johnson calculates flight trajectories at NASA, overcoming racial and gender barriers. Her brilliant work was critical for the success of the first U.S. manned space flights, proving that human computers were just as vital as the machines they programmed. New York City, 2001 fire truck ladder 118 crosses the Brooklyn Bridge toward the smoke in World Trade Center. Towers in a heartbreaking display of duty. Every firefighter aboard this rig rushed into danger to save lives and tragically perished shortly after this photo was taken. Virginia, 1863. An American Civil War soldier breaks the tension of conflict by clowning around for the camera amidst the brutal reality of battle, and camp life moments of humor provided a necessary psychological escape for troops facing uncertain fates. United States, 1899. Sharpshooter Annie Oakley displays her incredible skill by taking a shot over her shoulder using only a hand mirror star of Buffalo Bills. Wild West show her legendary marksmanship shattered stereotypes and made her one of America's first female superstars. Hollywood, 1928. A production crew captures the roar of Leo the Lion for the iconic MGM opening sequence without modern digital effects. The crew had to get dangerously close to the massive beast to record the sound that would open thousands of films. London, 1947, standing 9 feet tall. This wedding cake for Princess Elizabeth and Prince Philip weighed 500 pounds, dubbed the 10,000-mile cake. Its ingredients were shipped from Australia and South Africa, a luxury in a Britain still rationing food after the war. Atlantic City, 1923. 18-year-old Ruth Malcolmson smiles after winning the Atlantic City pageant, crowned as the Golden Mermaid before the title became Miss America. She represented a shifting standard of beauty in the Roaring '20s, triumphing over professional models of the era. New York City, 1925. A kind-hearted police officer stops busy city traffic to allow a mother cat carrying her kitten to cross safely. This heartwarming moment of compassion amidst the chaotic urban hustle captured the public's imagination during the Jazz Age. California, 1918. Rail commuters stare forward, wearing white protective masks during the deadly influenza pandemic. One chest bears a stark warning: wear a mask or go to jail, illustrating the severe public health measures enforced to stop a virus that claimed millions. New York, 1907. Self-taught inventor E. Lillian Todd stands with her aircraft design as the first woman in the world to design and build an airplane. She broke into a male-dominated field fueled purely by her mechanical genius and determination to fly. United States, 1972. A vibrant page from the Jake Penney Spring and Summer catalog showcases the bold fashion of the era with polyester suits and vivid colors. These mail-order pages served as a style Bible for suburban families across America during the disco decade. Detroit, 2011. A stark comparison reveals the city's transformation from a bustling 1882 metropolis to a landscape of urban decay. Once the engine of American industry, these contrasting images highlight the economic shifts that left historic neighborhoods in ruins over a century later. Soviet Union, 1970s. These numberless telephones were designed without dials to prevent outgoing calls used in factories and military facilities. They ensured that communication flowed only one way, from the authorities down to the workers, symbolizing the states, total control over information. Washington, D.C. 1885 members of the Kendall Green Bike Club pose with their penny farthings in front of Gallaudet University. These high-wheel bicycles were a symbol of freedom and leisure for the faculty and students at the world's premier institution for the deaf. United States 1860 future President Ulysses S. Grant poses with a posture brace visible behind him. This device was essential to hold subjects still during the long exposure times required by early photography, preventing the blurring that sudden movements would otherwise cause. London, 1933, fearless workmen scale the heights of the Old Bailey to clean the Statue of Justice high above the city streets without modern safety harnesses. They scrub the soot from the bronze figure maintaining the symbol of British law and order. Amsterdam, 1928. 16-year-old Betty Robinson stands proud as the first woman to win an Olympic gold medal. In track and field, her victory in the 100 meters paved the way for female athletes, proving they belonged on the world's biggest sporting stage. The Hague, 1872. A rare photograph captures Vincent van Gogh at age 19, long before he became a post-impressionist master, while he died unrecognized at 37. This image offers a haunting glimpse of the young man whose art would eventually captivate the world. New York City, 1940s women of the USO roller skate to work to promote gas rationing during World War II. Their sign, "Do Your Bit," encouraged citizens to save fuel for the war effort, blending patriotism with a spirited sense of fun. Hong Kong, 1990s, this recreation depicts the legendary Kowloon walled city, once the most densely populated place on Earth before its demolition. In 1994, 33,000 people lived in a lawless, chaotic urban maze packed into a single city block. Newcastle, 1972. A young Rowan Atkinson studies electrical engineering long before becoming the comedic icon Mr. Bean. Though he would later earn a master's degree from Oxford, his destiny lay in making the world laugh rather than wiring its circuits. Algeria, 1860s. A 38-year-old soldier poses in uniform as part of the French colonial units, labeled as a Kuloglu. He was of mixed heritage, representing the complex ethnic tapestry of the Ottoman and French empires in North Africa during the 19th century. United States, 1946. Rows of surplus military motorcycles sit unsold after the end of World War II, with the fighting over billions of dollars in equipment became instant surplus, flooding the market and fueling the rise of biker culture in post-war America. Paris, 1963. Félicette, a stray cat found on the streets of Paris, becomes the first feline launched into space, known as AstroCat. She survived her suborbital flight, contributing vital data to the space race before fading into relative obscurity compared to other animal astronauts. New York, 1990s. A young Liv Tyler poses for a camera, capturing her transition from model to Hollywood star daughter of rock legend Steven Tyler. She would soon captivate audiences in blockbusters, carving out her own fame, separate from her father's musical legacy. United States, 1910s. Young children stand amidst piles of oyster shells, working long hours instead of attending school. These grueling shifts, often lasting well into the evening, robbed them of their childhoods and highlighted the urgent need for labor reform in early industrial America. Italy, 1969. Actor Charles Bronson exudes his trademark tough guy persona in a portrait by Giancarlo Botti, with his weathered features and intense gaze. Bronson was becoming an international icon of vigilante justice, redefining the action hero archetype for a gritty new era. Washington, D.C., 1993. A handwritten letter from George W. Bush rests on the Oval Office desk for incoming President Bill Clinton. This gracious note marked a peaceful transfer of power, offering support and friendship, despite the bitterness of the election campaign. California, 1947, French cyclist Alfred Letourneur tows a 22-foot Airstream trailer with a bicycle to demonstrate its lightweight design. This publicity stunt at Van Nuys Airport showcased the aerodynamic engineering that made aluminum trailers a symbol of American travel freedom. Peru, 1925, photographer Martin Chambi stands beside the towering giant of Paruro in Cusco. Chambi, known for documenting indigenous culture, captures the stark contrast in height, preserving a human story from the Andes that blends local history with anthropological curiosity. Mexico, 1891. A steam train emerges from a tunnel in the Tamasopo Canyon, captured by William Henry Jackson. This engineering marvel cut through rugged terrain, symbolizing the industrial expansion that connected remote regions of Mexico to the modern world in the late 19th century. England, 1930s, a police identification book reveals a mugshot of a laborer from Newcastle. His rough attire and hardened expression offer a glimpse into the criminal underclass of the Depression era, where poverty often drove ordinary men to desperate measures. Washington, D.C., 1985. Hollywood star John Travolta swirls Princess Diana around the dance floor at the White House. This iconic moment captured the intersection of American celebrity and British royalty, creating a dazzling image that defined the glamour of the Reagan era. Georgia, 1909. Young boys climb the spinning frames in a Macon cotton mill to mend broken threads. Their small size made them ideal for the dangerous machinery. A stark reality of child labor documented to shame the nation into changing its laws. England, 1988. An 18-year-old Simon Pegg poses with a rebellious look long before his fame in Star Trek. This snapshot captures the comedian in his gothic phase, hinting at the alternative culture that would later influence his cult classic films. Paris, 1889, engineer Gustave Eiffel stands high atop his completed tower, surveying the city with a friend once criticized as an eyesore. His iron masterpiece was the tallest structure in the world, serving as a monument to French industrial prowess. New York, 1948. Holocaust survivor Joseph Gutmann embraces Master Sergeant William Best, the soldier who liberated him in a heartwarming twist of fate. The American soldier adopted the young orphan, giving him a new family and a future after the horrors of war. New York, 1910's daredevil John Reynolds balances precariously on the edge of a skyscraper roof, known as the human fly. He thrilled crowds by scaling buildings without safety gear, embodying the death-defying craze that swept cities in the early 20th century. United States, 1945, aviation pioneer Igor Sikorsky hovers in his H-5 helicopter, demonstrating the machine he perfected. His vertical flight technology revolutionized rescue missions and military transport, turning the dream of rotary flight into a practical reality for the modern world. France, 1826. A grainy view from a window marks the first photograph ever taken, captured by Nicephore Niepce. This 8-hour exposure of a courtyard represents the birth of photography, forever changing how humanity documents history, memory, and art. United States, 1970s. A young child gazes up in awe at the massive Andre the Giant. The wrestler's sheer size made him a global attraction, but moments like this reveal the gentle nature of the man behind the legendary myth. London, 1930s. A wire cage hangs from a high apartment window, suspending a baby over the city street. These devices were intended to give urban children fresh air and sunlight, a terrifying concept by modern safety standards, but common practice at the time. Hamburg, 1936. A lone man stands with arms crossed, refusing to perform the Nazi salute amidst a sea of raised hands believed to be August Landmesser. His silent act of defiance against Hitler remains a powerful symbol of individual courage against tyranny. Los Angeles, 1993. Keanu Reeves, Sandra Bullock, and Dennis Hopper, Pause on the set of Speed. This high-octane thriller would redefine action cinema, turning a bus ride into a blockbuster event and cementing the chemistry between its two young leads. United States 1900s, a young worker stares wearily at the camera in a Lewis Hine photograph. Hine risked his safety to document these dangerous conditions, using his camera as a tool for social change that eventually helped outlaw child labor in America. England, 1908, Violet and Daisy Hilton, conjoined twins born in Brighton, are captured in this early portrait. Their lives would become a journey from exploitation in carnival sideshows to fame in vaudeville, highlighting the complex history of disability and entertainment. England, 1983, 17-year-old Bryn Owen poses proudly with his customized Vespa scooter. Covered in mirrors and lights, the bike reflects the mod revival culture of the 80s, where teenagers express their identity through sharp suits and Italian scooters. New York City, 1966, the Empire State Building barely pierces through a thick blanket of toxic smog. This deadly weather event trapped pollution over the city for 3 days, serving as a wake-up call that helped spur the environmental movement and clean air laws. Pittsburgh, 1920s. 3 young boys sit together in a wooden wagon on a neighborhood street in the steel capital of the world. Moments of childhood play offered a respite from the industrial smoke and hard labor that defined the city's atmosphere. San Francisco, 1987. A Golden Gate Bridge flattens under the weight of 800,000 people celebrating its 50th anniversary. Officials feared the structure might collapse as the arch flattened by 7 feet, creating a frightening moment during the historic celebration. Hollywood 1940s actress Hedy Lamarr poses in her prime, celebrated as the most beautiful woman in the world beyond her screen fame. She was a brilliant inventor who developed frequency-hopping technology, laying the groundwork for the Wi-Fi and Bluetooth we use today. Brazil, 1980s, thousands of mud-covered men swarm the Serra Pelada gold mine like ants in a pit driven by gold fever. 50,000 workers dug by hand in dangerous conditions, creating a chaotic scene of human desperation and ecological destruction. Hollywood, 1940s. Lauren Bacall captivates the camera with her signature look known as the look. Her sultry voice and commanding presence made her a film noir legend, defining a new era of strong, sophisticated leading ladies in the golden age of cinema. New Hampshire, 1866. A steam engine pushes a carriage of tourists up the steep slopes of Mount Washington as the world's first mountain climbing cog railway. It defied skeptics who said it was impossible, turning a dangerous peak into a popular Victorian attraction. Tunisia, 1976, filming for Star Wars. The crew uses a practical trick to make Luke Skywalker's land speeder float by attaching angled mirrors to the side of the vehicle. They reflected the desert sand to hide the wheels, creating movie magic without computers. Egypt, 1922. Howard Carter discovers an Anubis statue guarding the inner chamber of King Tut's tomb, draped in a linen cloth over 3,000 years old. The shrine sat untouched for millennia, offering a breathtaking glimpse into the burial rites of pharaohs. Germany, 1940s, a massive 30,000-ton hydraulic press towers over factory workers vital for building aircraft during the war. This industrial titan was so valuable that the Soviet Union dismantled it and shipped it to Russia, where it remains in operation today. New York, 1910s, a daredevil performs a terrifying stunt, balancing on a chair atop a table on a chimney edge high above the Manhattan streets. These thrill-seekers risked death for fame, turning the city skyline into a stage for their acrobatic feats. Paris, 1930, a bride and groom pose elegantly on the high streets of Paris, the classic fashion and cobblestone backdrop capture the romance of the interwar period, a brief moment of joy and normalcy before the continent would be plunged into conflict again. United States, 1963. An inventor models a pair of television glasses, an early attempt at portable entertainment. While the device looked futuristic, the heavy, awkward design was decades ahead of the technology needed to make virtual reality a practical consumer product. Netherlands, 1957. Students attend lessons in an open-air school, bundled in coats at their desks, designed to combat tuberculosis and promote health. These classrooms utilized fresh air and sunlight as medicine, prioritizing physical well-being alongside traditional academic education. Europe, 1870s. A woman gazes directly into the lens in a portrait taken 150 years ago. The clarity of the image bridges the gap of time, preserving the details of her dress and expression for future generations to study. New York City, 1930. Construction workers dangle precariously from the steel beams of the Empire State Building without safety harnesses. These skyboys built the world's tallest skyscraper in record time, risking their lives daily during the height of the Great Depression. United States, 1920s. A pair of shoes with cow hooves attached reveals the ingenuity of Prohibition moonshiners. By wearing these whilst walking through the woods, bootleggers left tracks resembling cattle to confuse police and protect their secret distillery locations. Jamaica, 1962. Sean Connery holds a cat while relaxing on the one set of Dr. No. This behind-the-scenes moment captures the first James Bond at the start of a franchise that would define spy cinema for the next 60 years. Nevada, 1933. Workers stand inside the massive casing of a Hoover Dam turbine under construction. Apache Indians were employed as high scalers on this project, fearless in their work on the canyon walls to build a dam that would power the Southwest. New York City, 1940. Children play freely on the city streets, using the urban landscape as their playground before the dominance of cars and screens. The neighborhood block was the center of social life for city kids growing up in the 40s. Berlin, 1945. A woman walks through the shattered remains of the German capital. The devastation of World War II left the city in piles of rubble, a stark reminder of the destruction brought by the fall of the Third Reich. New York, 1900s. Traditional Dutch children arrive at Ellis Island wearing wooden shoes and bonnets. Like millions of others, they pass through this gateway, carrying their heritage in their luggage, hoping for a new beginning in the melting pot of America. Hollywood, 1962. Actor Brock Peters delivers a tearful testimony in To Kill a Mockingbird. His unscripted emotion was so powerful that Gregory Peck had to look away to keep his composure, creating one of the most poignant scenes in cinema history. Boston, 1952. A mother walks proudly with her 10 daughters, known as the One-Eel Sisters. This striking family portrait highlights the large families of the baby boom era, capturing a rare synchronicity of genetics and style on a city sidewalk. California, 1918. Charlie Chaplin inspects a doll version of his famous tramp character. By this time, Chaplin was a global superstar, and the merchandising of his image marked the beginning of modern celebrity culture, where movies moved beyond the screen. Hollywood, 1989. Christina Applegate poses during the height of her fame as Kelly Bundy. Her role in Married with Children challenged TV norms, making her a teen icon who defined the style and attitude of the late 80s. New York, 1965. Leslie Uggams and Graham Pratt smile on their wedding day. Their interracial marriage faced significant public scrutiny at the time, yet their enduring union of over 50 years became a quiet testament to love overcoming societal prejudice. Los Angeles, 1970s. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar stands beside his mentor coach, John Wooden. The height difference is comical, but the respect is palpable, representing one of the most successful player-coach partnerships in the history of college basketball at UCLA. California, 1892. A family poses before the stump of the Mark Twain sequoia, a giant tree felled for exhibition. It took two men 13 days to saw through the trunk, an act of destruction that ironically helped spark the conservation movement. London, 1970s, Jimmy Page performs with Led Zeppelin guitar in hand as the architect of the band's heavy sound. His riffs defined hard rock, influencing generations of musicians and cementing his place as a guitar god of the 70s. United States 1956 workers load a massive 5-megabyte hard drive onto an airplane weighing over a ton. This bulky IBM storage unit illustrates just how far technology has come, as today we carry terabytes of data in our pockets. Philadelphia, 1894. Matilda Crawford stands ready as an anesthesiologist in a surgical theater at a time when women in medicine were rare. She broke barriers in a critical field, ensuring patient safety during the dangerous early days of surgery. London, 1860. A staged photograph by Oscar Reglander depicts a homeless boy in rags. While artistic in nature, the image drew attention to the plight of street children in Victorian England, blending early photography with social commentary. Washington, D.C., 1922. Robert Todd Lincoln, son of the 16th president, is helped up the steps of the Lincoln Memorial. At 78, he witnessed the dedication of the monument, honoring his father, bridging the gap between the Civil War and the modern era. Washington, D.C., 1961. Princess Grace of Monaco visits President John F. Kennedy at the White House. This meeting of American royalty and actual royalty captured the glamour of the Camelot era, uniting Hollywood elegance with political power. Kyoto, 1960. J. Robert Oppenheimer lectures at Kyoto University 15 years after the bombs he helped create devastated Japan. His visit to the country marked a somber moment of reflection on science ethics and the consequences of the atomic age. Sweden, 1910. A Sami family stands before their traditional dwelling in Skansen, dressed in reindeer skins and cultural attire. They represent the indigenous people of the Nordic North, maintaining their way of life amidst a rapidly modernizing Europe. United States, 1950s. A woman dials a rotary phone, a device that offered no caller ID or contact lists in this era. Every ring was a mystery, and calling someone required memorizing numbers, a mental habit lost to the smartphone generation. Virginia, 1938. A woman pickets with a sign reading, "Our boss owns 77 houses. We can't pay rent." This protest by tobacco workers highlighted the extreme wealth gap during the Depression as laborers fought for fair wages and housing security. Florida, 1920s. A police officer measures the length of a woman's bathing suit on Palm Beach during this era of strict morality laws. Beach censors patrolled the sands to ensure swimwear met regulations, fining women for showing too much skin. Paris, 1913. A vintage postcard displays the fashion and style of pre-war France. These colorful cards were the social media of their day, sent by millions to share travel stories and sentiments before the outbreak of the Great War. London, 1932. A female firefighting team poses on a converted motorcycle, breaking into a strictly male profession. These women trained to protect their city, challenging gender roles and proving their capability in emergency services long before it was common. Texas, 1867. A portrait of James and Amelia captures a couple in the Reconstruction-era South. Their serious expressions and formal wear reflect the dignity sought by families documenting their lives during a turbulent period of American history. San Francisco, 1937. Pedestrians flood the Golden Gate Bridge on its opening day, enjoying the structure before cars were allowed. This pedestrian day allowed thousands to walk, the span celebrating the completion of the impossible bridge across the bay. New York, 1910. Young boys sit at the end of bowling lanes ready to manually reset the pins, working late nights in smoke-filled alleys. These pin boys were a staple of the game before automatic pin setters rendered their jobs obsolete. Minnesota, 1921. Sisters Florence and Susie stand for a mugshot after being arrested for moonshining. Even women participated in the illicit alcohol trade during Prohibition, brewing spirits to make ends meet, despite the risk of federal raids and jail time. Japan, 1946. A U.S. soldier gives a young Japanese girl a ride on his bicycle in the ruins of post-war Japan. Such small moments of kindness between occupiers and civilians helped bridge the gap between former enemies during the occupation. Spain, 1957. A father and son weep as relatives board a ship for Buenos Aires. Economic hardship under the Franco regime forced many Spaniards to emigrate, leading to heart-wrenching dockside farewells as families were torn apart by poverty. California, 1944. A female Lockheed employee punches rivet holes into a P-38 Lightning fighter. Real-life Rosie the Riveters, like her, were the backbone of the American war effort, stepping into factories to build the planes that won World War II. Mississippi, 1937. A young Elvis Presley poses with his parents Gladys and Vernon decades before he became the king of rock and roll. He was just a boy from Tupelo, raised in a close-knit family. That fueled his musical soul. Soviet Union, 1965. Animal trainer Margarita Nazarova plays with a tiger on a frozen river embankment, a star of the Soviet circus and cinema. She was famous for her fearless stunts, treating these deadly predators like oversized house cats. Paris, 1922. Albert Einstein stands before a chalkboard explaining the theory of relativity. This rare photo captures the genius in his element, revolutionizing physics and changing our understanding of time and space, while the academic world watched in awe. United States, 1986. Bill Watterson sits at his drawing table, creating the world of Calvin and Hobbes, notoriously private. The artist refused to merchandise his characters, fighting to keep the integrity of his comic strip pure until its sudden end. United States, 1978. Michael Jackson smiles during the filming of The Wiz, standing on the brink of his solo superstardom with the upcoming release of Off the Wall. This era marked his transition from child star to the king of pop. Georgia, 1970s. Nona Gaprindashvili concentrates over a chessboard as the first woman to be awarded the title of Grandmaster. She shattered the gender ceiling in the male-dominated world of chess, proving that strategic genius knows no gender. Hollywood, 1941. A 19-year-old Ava Gardner poses for an MGM employment questionnaire. Her stunning beauty in these initial headshots launched a career that would see her become one of the most glamorous and celebrated actresses of the mid-20th century. Budapest, 1920. A lesbian couple poses in semi-drag wedding attire in a studio portrait. This bold expression of queer identity in 1920s Hungary reveals a hidden history of love and resistance that existed long before the modern Pride movement. United States, 1957. Playwright Arthur Miller and actress Marilyn Monroe share a quiet moment. Their marriage brought together the intellect of the theater and the glamour of Hollywood, a high-profile union that fascinated the public until their eventual divorce. France, 1990s. Jeanne Calment, born in 1875, lived until 1997, witnessing the world change from horse-drawn carriages to the internet age. She met Van Gogh as a girl and lived to be 122, holding the record for human longevity. Tennessee, 1920. The Shelton family poses around a massive American chestnut tree known as the Redwoods of the East. These giants dominated the forests until a blight wiped them out, making this photo a memorial to a vanished ecosystem. East Berlin, 1980s, a view of the city streets, reveals the stark architecture of the Soviet bloc. Before the fall of the wall, life here was defined by state surveillance and shortages, contrasting sharply with the vibrant freedom of the West. Paris, 1904. A young Pablo Picasso stares intensely at the camera in his Montmartre studio surrounded by his early works. The Spanish artist was on the verge of developing Cubism, a style that would shatter traditional art forever. Germany, 1959. Elvis Presley sits with his father, Vernon, and grandmother, Minnie May, during his army service. Despite his global fame, the king remained deeply connected to his roots, finding comfort in family while stationed far from Graceland. United States, 1930s, a man wears a sign listing his qualifications while walking the street in the depths of the Great Depression. Millions of skilled workers were reduced to begging for employment, illustrating the desperate economic collapse of the era. New York City, 1980s, the original World Trade Center towers dominate the Manhattan skyline. For decades, these monoliths stood as symbols of American economic power, serving as a bustling hub for business before their tragic destruction in 2001. Paris, 1910, a stone gargoyle of Notre Dame looks out over the city. These grotesque figures were designed not just as waterspouts, but as guardians to ward off evil spirits watching over Paris for centuries from their high perch. United States, 1925, two men race motorcycles rigged as Roman chariots. This dangerous sport combined the speed of modern machines with the spectacle of ancient gladiator games, thrilling crowds who craved high-speed danger in the roaring 20s. Utah, 1890, a group of 11 girls poses for a studio portrait in Salt Lake City. Their matching dresses and solemn expressions capture the innocence of youth in the late Victorian West, preserved forever by photographer Charles Roscoe Savage. New York, 1936, Marlene Dietrich sits on her luggage aboard the SS Normandy. The German-American actress was a style icon known for her defiance of gender norms and her vocal opposition to the Nazi regime rising in her homeland. London, 1890, horse-drawn carriages and pedestrians jam London Bridge in a chaotic scene as the heart of the British Empire. The city streets were perpetually gridlocked, teeming with the energy of commerce and daily life in the Victorian era. Ireland, 1890, a mother stands with her son, a ballad singer holding a printed poem in rural Ireland. Traveling singers were vital for spreading news and stories, keeping oral traditions alive in a country struggling with poverty and emigration. Maryland, 1921. Thomas Edison naps under a tree during a camping trip with Henry Ford and President Harding. These vagabonds took annual road trips, bringing together the greatest minds of industry and politics for leisure in the great outdoors. Atlantic Ocean, 1912 passengers test the cycling machines in the first-class gym of the RMS Titanic. This state of the art facility offered luxury and leisure to the wealthy, unaware that the ship would soon meet its tragic fate in the icy waters. Pennsylvania, 1974, Muhammad Ali trains intensely at his camp in Deer Lake, preparing for the rumble in the jungle. His focus and physical conditioning were legendary, allowing him to regain the heavyweight title and cement his legacy as the greatest. London, 1972 actress Caroline Munro gets her boots shined by Boy Scouts known for her roles in horror and sci-fi films. This publicity stunt highlighted Bob A, Job Week, a British tradition where Scouts did chores to raise funds. Southampton, 1912. the RMS Titanic leaves port for its maiden voyage, crowds waved goodbye to the largest ship afloat, believing it to be unsinkable, never imagining that within days it would become the most famous maritime disaster in history. Austria, 1917. 79-year-old Gaspar Wallnofer poses in uniform, likely the oldest soldier of World War I, having fought in previous eras. He returned to service reportedly armed with a scythe, embodying the desperate manpower needs of the crumbling empire. Persia, 1900s. Princess Esmat al-Dawla poses for a portrait as a daughter of the Shah. She was a prominent figure in the Qajar court. Her image challenges Western beauty standards of the time, documenting the unique aesthetic of Persian royalty. United States, 1987. Julia Louis-Dreyfus smiles on her wedding day with Brad Hall before she became Elaine Benes on Seinfeld. She was a young comedian starting her life with her college sweetheart, launching a partnership that would last decades in Hollywood. Australia, 1940. A father performs an acrobatic trick for his surprised little daughter. In the simple days before television dominated the living room, family entertainment was often homegrown, relying on physical play and the joy of shared laughter. Washington, D.C., 1960. Little Caroline Kennedy walks ahead while her father JFK carries her doll. This candid moment humanized the future president, showing him not as a politician, but as a doting dad, balancing family life with national duty. Atlantic Ocean, 1912 vs. 2000s. A composite image shows the Titanic's grand staircase in its glory and its underwater ruin. Once the epitome of Edwardian luxury, the wood has dissolved, leaving only a ghostly steel skeleton on the ocean floor. Italy, 1929. Two children pose amidst racks of drying pasta in traditional Italian households. Food production was a family affair, with even the youngest members helping to prepare the staples that would feed the community through the winter. Italy, 1962. Sophia Loren exudes glamour in a candid shot as an international film star. She brought earthy Italian beauty to Hollywood, winning an Oscar for two women and proving that foreign actresses could conquer the American box office. Mexico, 1874. The ancient ruins of Mitla stand silent in the Oaxaca Valley, known for their intricate geometric mosaics. These Zapotec structures fascinated early archaeologists and travelers, serving as a testament to the sophisticated civilizations of pre-Hispanic Mexico. London, 1980. Mark Hamill relaxes with R2-D2 on the set of The Empire Strikes Back filming. The darker sequel to Star Wars was grueling, but moments of levity between the actors and droids kept spirits high during production. Hollywood, 1988. Nicolas Cage stands with his father, August Coppola. Although part of the famous Coppola dynasty, Cage changed his name to forge his own path, eventually becoming one of the most eccentric and recognizable actors of his generation. Australia, 1955. An Aboriginal child gently holds a young kangaroo joey. This tender image captures the deep connection between Indigenous Australians and the land's wildlife, a bond that has existed for tens of thousands of years across the continent. Hollywood, 1990s. Nicole Kidman and Tom Cruise smile at a red carpet event as the decade's ultimate power couple their relationship dominated, the tabloids representing the height of Hollywood glamour before their high-profile split shocked the industry. United States, 2020s. The sixth great-grandson of Thomas Jefferson recreates his ancestor's portrait. The striking resemblance bridges centuries, offering a living link to the founding father and sparking conversations about legacy genetics and the history of the Jefferson family line. Washington, D.C., 1963. The original Ronald McDonald, played by Willard Scott, wears a cup on his nose and a cardboard tray hat. This terrifying early iteration of the clown mascot helped launch the fast food giant's marketing empire. London, 1925. King George VI enjoys a ride down a slide at an exhibition. before the weight of the crown and World War II fell upon his shoulders, the Duke of York found moments of simple childlike joy. United States 1970s, a young Morgan Freeman plays DJ Melmounds on the Electric Company long before he was the voice of God in films. He taught a generation of children to read through groovy characters on public television. Washington 1915 lumberjacks stand atop a massive felled tree in the Pacific Northwest using only hand saws and axes. These men cleared ancient forests, fueling the timber industry that built the growing cities of the American West. United States, 1850s, a young girl frowns deeply for the camera in a daguerreotype, forced to sit perfectly still for a long exposure in uncomfortable clothes. Her displeasure is immortalized, proving that kids have hated formal photos for centuries. United States 1910s, a towering man stands face to chest with a smaller companion. This visual contrast highlights the extreme variations in human height, likely part of a circus or sideshow where physical differences were exhibited for public entertainment. Oklahoma 1930s, a destitute family poses outside their makeshift home. During the Great Depression, the Dust Bowl destroyed their livelihood, forcing them into poverty and migration, a tragedy captured in the haunting photography of the Farm Security Administration. Italy prehistory, a preserved footprint in the Twirano Caves, reveals the passage of a Neanderthal 40,000 years ago. This fossilized trace offers a rare, tangible connection to our evolutionary cousins who once walked the earth alongside early humans. Egypt current era. An Egyptian man stands next to a 2,000-year-old Roman painting. The resemblance is uncanny, suggesting a direct genetic lineage that has survived millennia, proving the enduring continuity of the people in the Fayum region. Dallas, 1963. Lyndon B. Johnson takes the oath of office aboard Air Force One hours after JFK's assassination, with a blood-stained Jackie Kennedy by his side. This somber ceremony marked a tragic and abrupt transfer of presidential power. San Francisco, 1935. A construction worker balances on the first cables of the Golden Gate Bridge high above the bay. With the Presidio in the background, he helps weave the steel web that would become an engineering icon. Frankfurt, 1946. A German soldier collapses in grief upon returning home to find his family gone and his house destroyed. This devastating image captures the personal tragedy faced by millions in the shattered ruins of post-war Europe. Canada, 1907. Samson Beaver of the Stoney First Nation poses with his wife Leah and daughter. This portrait by Mary Schaffer preserves the dignity and traditional dress of the indigenous people of the Rockies before modern encroachment. Scotland, 1887. Engineers demonstrate the cantilever principle using human subjects to explain the Firth of Forthbridge design. By sitting on chairs and holding sticks, they visually proved how the massive steel structure would support its own weight. Normandy, 1944. American soldiers wade through waist-deep water toward the French coast on June 6th. The largest amphibious invasion in history began as Allied forces stormed the beaches to liberate Europe from Nazi control at a terrible cost. New York, 1969. A young woman dances in a field at the Woodstock Festival, surrounded by 500,000 people. She embodies the free-spirited hope of the counterculture movement that defined a generation during the Summer of Love. Global, 1995. A stack of 28 floppy disks sits ready to install Windows 95 before high-speed internet downloads. Installing an operating system was a tedious physical process, requiring users to swap disks one by one for hours. Palermo, 1943. An American soldier shares ice cream with his Sicilian cousins at a cafe for many GIs. The invasion of Italy was a homecoming, reconnecting them with relatives they had never met amidst the chaos of war. Paris, 1919. One of the first aerial photographs captures the city. Of Paris from above, taken just after World War I. It offers a bird's eye view of the dense urban layout that had evolved over centuries along the Seine. Pennsylvania, 1939. Youngsters scavenge at a city dump in Ambridge during the hard times of the late 30s. Resourcefulness was a survival skill, and children often searched through refuse for scrap metal or items to sell or use. New York, 1895. Passengers crowd the deck of the Staten Island Ferry long before the Verrazano Bridge. This boat was the only link between the boroughs, carrying a mix of social classes across the harbor on their daily commute. London, 1908. A Danish gymnast demonstrates the high jump at the Olympics. His technique differs vastly from the modern Fosbury flop, showcasing how athletic styles have evolved over a century of competition in track and field. Los Angeles, 1970s. A massive Victorian house is trucked down a city street. Relocating historic homes was a way to save them from demolition during urban redevelopment, creating a surreal sight of a building floating through traffic. Italy, 1916. Austro-Hungarian soldiers navigate the treacherous peaks of the Dolomites. The White War was fought at high altitude, where freezing temperatures and avalanches were often just as deadly as the enemy fire across the mountain passes. California, 1949. Betty Cook participates in a blink test to measure eye irritation from smog as pollution worsened in post-war cities. Scientists conducted experiments to understand the health impacts of the toxic air hanging over urban populations. London, 19